The following podcast has been brought to you by Audible.com. Sign up now using the URL audibletrial.com/TTV to get a free audiobook of your choosing. We recommend Brick by Brick, How LEGO Rewrote the Rules of Innovation and Conquered the Global Toy Industry. You may recognize this as one of the sources we use in our show, Bionicle Autopsy. Remember, that's audibletrial.com/TTV. Enjoy the show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, sync. Hey everyone, I'm Eljay.
I'm Barteran.
And I'm Kahi.
And this is TTV Talks. Yeah, shred it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. This is my jam.
I shredded it.
Nice.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, that's what
how's
happens when you
everyone
shred
doing?
things. Also, this happens when you shred things. Ooh, I shredded it. I shredded it.
What was that? Bar? What
I shredded.
was that?
That was all.
Was all our tax forms?
Yeah, those are all of our tax forms and our expenses, all of our spreadsheets, and yeah,
Social Security cards, all of that. That's all gone.
Yeah.
I think
Our performance reviews.
I think some paychecks are in there as well.
Oh no, they're right here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for getting those.
Got him. Took care of that. Job's done, everybody. Let's go home.
Yeah. No.
LJ, okay, have you ever concerned, or maybe, I guess you're one of us too, but do you ever think the other guys are kind of concerned that we like, we're the people in charge of all this stuff? Like all the taxes and stuff. Do you think that's part of their, like they're aware that
honestly,
they
they got
run
like
their
everybody
job?
that works here.
Chat.
I think everybody that works here is so lazy that they're just happy it's not them handling it.
Yeah.
No,
They're happy
I bet
that
you they are.
occasionally some money ends up in an account of theirs.
Yeah, basically, they're just
Yeah,
like,
if I had to be like, hey,
man.
can you file a Section C? And they'd be like, what? You guys are probably
Yeah,
like,
they
what?
have no clue what we're talking about. The people that work here are stupid, man. Everybody
I know.
here is stupid but us.
I know.
Not
Wow.
to, you know.
Not to be offensive
Right,
or
I
anything.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real
appreciate
here.
that.
It's not like they're going to watch this. They don't watch any of our content. Nobody keeps track of anything we do except
they
for us. And
barely-
we don't even do it half the time. Kahi, you don't even do it.
Yeah, they
I don't
barely
think, listen,
even know when we release
I will
things.
readily admit, like, Mock Spotlight, I watch Mock Spotlight. Not as bad. I just
know when Mock Spotlight comes out.
I know when Mock Spotlight comes out. Come on.
When's it come out?
Okay.
Wednesday.
Good job.
Good
boy.
job. I'm
Here,
proud of you,
Here you go.
Kahi.
Have a Kahi snack.
I almost called you Potty. I'm proud of you, Potty.
Hey, yo, Potty, how's it going?
But anyway,
Wow.
yes, I guess that's good that you know that. But I guarantee you, if we like quiz most of our employees here, they would not know like anything.
See,
Yeah,
Viper
nah.
wouldn't know. Takuma
Viper
would not
wouldn't
know.
know. I don't think
Purple,
Takuma
I don't
knows.
know. 'Cause she's
Takuma
like,
might know. Might. Purple
I
would
don't think-
definitely know because she's a freak. And
Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
let's see who else would.
Meso would know because he's in charge
Messa would
of
know
our
because he's in
scheduling.
charge of the schedule.
Yeah. So
Even I'm not gonna lie. Even things I like, I'm a huge fan of. Like, I have an active invested interest in, as opposed to my job. Who cares about that? I still don't know that schedule for anything. So like, if I'm a huge
cares
Rooster
about
Teeth fan.
working?
I am a huge Rooster Teeth fan. Don't know when any of her stuff comes out, except for like maybe Ruby. I know that's
you know
on
when
Sundays.
Ruby comes out and
Yeah,
when
I
it's
don't know
in
when any
season.
Rooster stuff comes out either.
You also know when RVB comes out because they have that readily available for
But
you.
I mean,
to know.
it's harder with Rooster Teeth because they've got like freaking 5.
They've got a
videos
billion
day
shows.
half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a video a day.
Yeah,
So
it's way
One
easier to
video
track
one
of
day.
us.
So I mean, eventually we hope to change that, right?
obviously.
I mean, maybe if we ever have multiple channels,
improve.
yeah. I wouldn't want to do multiple videos a day on the same channel.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
with you of that. I think like the tough thing with us right now is that we're in we're in a place with subscribers where we don't have enough to do an offshoot channel right yet and have enough people go into that to make that extra thing worth it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we couldn't do a Let's Play channel. We don't have enough subscribers to make that, like, all that editing work and all that stuff worth it.
Yeah. No.
Yep.
It's always
Definitely.
like
I wish we could, because
like
like,
10%.
we kind of tried that with Product Showcase, although to be fair, we didn't really do a great job of managing the Product Showcase channel anyway, so
listen.
it's not like that was a complete failure. But,
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a 10%. It's a 10% thing. It's always 10% of your audience is going to be engaged at whatever level, and then you have like the 90% that's kind of like, you know, they still watch and they still do that kind of thing, but it's not all there. Like for instance, most of our podcasts get like what 2,000 views, or maybe like TTV Talks. Yeah, that's our general thing, and we have 20,000 subscribers, so that equals out to about that much. So product showcase when we made it, we had around 10,000, 11,000, 13,000 subscribers, and when we made it now, it has like 1,000 subscribers. You know, it's always 10%. So if we had 200,000 subscribers. Yeah, sure. Let's play channel. Why not?
Well, yeah, that'd be like 20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. Boy, I actually like working here, like calling it work is interesting. You know,
Hey man,
this,
I was able to put it on my resume and I got a job. So like, as far as I'm concerned, that makes this a job.
No, listen,
hey,
this
buddy,
is a
I
job.
was able to put it on my resume too. So
Listen, this is a job. We have a company. Our names are on the thing for this company. It's registered with the government. We own this company. So it's not like a thing where it's
yeah,
like,
I know.
it's not like a quote unquote job, you know, where we're like, oh yeah, I kind of do this thing there. Now as far as the legally is concerned, this is a job.
Hey, speaking of
job.
that job thing, you know, registered with the government, all that stuff, and you know, tax season's coming up, right?
I know.
Yeah,
Listen,
Kahi reminds us
I'm
all
getting
the time.
What's going on with the lawyer there?
Yeah, no.
Gonna fix that a little bit.
I'll fix that. We have the budget for it. The thing I was waiting for is that I'm not sure.
Yeah. Just wanna
Toy
make sure
Fair, we got to
that ready.
readjust our Toy Fair budget. But after Toy Fair, yeah, no, definitely there. I'll get that done. And we also need we need to do some conference calls, man. We got to do some conference calls in the upcoming future.
About that. I'm not really sure when I'm going to be free for that because like I work weekends. So
Yeah, I know. But like, are you free like in the morning or like?
no, because like I mean, at least not on Saturday because we're going to be doing TTV.
What about tomorrow? Are you free tomorrow?
Yeah, I should be free. No, maybe not. Yeah, no, I'll be free tomorrow in between 2 and 4. So that's like
Okay.
a 2-hour window.
All right. Well, yeah, maybe we'll see if we can get something done. I mean, like I know that like
Are you
with a new
working
job,
tomorrow, Var?
yeah, with a new job, it's always kind of tough. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you're working tomorrow, Var, aren't you?
Yeah, I am finally on the schedule now.
No, you're
Finished
finally
with
past training.
so I
Yeah.
finally have a consistent schedule
Good
where I
job.
know when I'm going to work. Thankfully.
Nice.
This past week has just been a nightmare.
Okay. Var,
well, yeah,
we
tell
need to talk
us.
about
Yeah,
this
talk about
past
your
week.
jobs. Talk about like that whole thing for a bit.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but me and Eljay are actually working at the same company right now.
Yes,
called
we
Pandemic
can't
Panda. Of
name
course
the
they knew about this.
We can't say what the company is, but we can say what we do. We're
I
call
mean,
takers.
you could have just said like you didn't have to mention that we couldn't say the name.
Yeah,
we could have
but
just
we're
gone
call
ahead and
takers.
Now
said
people are going to
call
go and try to find that
Essentially.
out because
We
you
take
said you
calls,
can't
we
say
talk to
it.
people.
That's how the internet works.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. See now you brought attention to it. You could have just been like, "Oh yeah, we're call takers." You didn't just could have just avoided it entirely, and then he dropped from the call.
It's like that thing. It's
I
like that
chewed
thing,
out
right?
too hard.
No, listen,
so
it's like
hard
that.
it
It's
broke
totally like
his
that
internet.
thing where it's like, how many people want to see Takuma's face? How many care what Takuma's face looks like, even though they've never seen it? Not that many people. How many people are like, "Oh, they take off the mask," because she brought attention to it with the masks. So people are going to ask where you
Okay,
work at the end of time.
What do we do? Eljay dropped.
I don't know, man. Just tell me about your job.
Let's. Okay, fine.
Yeah, just do
So, yeah, me and Eljay are call takers. We are working at the same company as call takers, and it's been a very interesting job so far because we work remotely, taking calls for a certain location, and it's been pretty fun. It's a really, really laid back job. You get paid $10 an hour to $12 an hour, depending on your shift. So it's quite a decent amount of money for the hours you put in. However, with training, I didn't really know what my schedule was gonna be. Cause it was kind of like this thing where like whenever my boss is available, he would bring me on to train. And every single day we would train, and it was always 8-hour shifts we trained for. And the worst part about it was that during the start of my training, we got scheduled to do the review week.
Yeah.
And for those also not aware, review week, me and Eljay, we're going to be posting a review and a showcase every single day for the whole week.
Yeah.
Which would have worked. I actually had allocated time for it. I had prepared, like a weekend where I was going to go ahead and get through with Showcase, early, because I got the sets before Eljay did. So I had allocated some time so I could go ahead and get it done. Unfortunately, on that weekend, we decided to record book club, and I guess for whatever reason, Meso was just like, oh yeah, and that's coming out in 2 days. And I'm like, what? Because Eljay, bear with me here, right? You've heard me say that book club needs to be recorded a week in advance. This is not a new thing.
No,
I've always said this.
Yes, yeah.
I don't understand why it was scheduled for release 2 days after recording.
I don't know either. Honestly, I kind of just felt that, I thought that was, a thing that we had already talked about as, book club needs to be on this other schedule to work. And it's why, for those wondering, why don't we do so many other shows with webcams? Why don't we do that on a regular basis? It's because it is the most time-consuming thing ever. It takes long to render, it takes long to edit, and the thing that you don't really think about is that we don't all live in the same area. So that means whenever we're done with the book club, we have to upload our footage, which is about maybe 40 minutes worth of video from everyone's webcam, and that all has to be transferred on the internet and downloaded to Var's computer. And then he has to go and edit all of that. And then he has to render all, basically 4 or 5 video feeds on top of that. So, into,
it's a
one video.
ridiculously long process.
It's
depending on how many people we have on, we might have up to 6 people sometimes, maybe. Then think about it. If it takes 5 hours, because some of us have pretty slow internet, to upload your footage onto our Dropbox, and then for me to download it, it'll take another hour or so. That's 6 hours. Now multiply that by 6. I gotta do that 5 more times. Hold up. By 5. I gotta do that 5 more times.
You're right. You're right with the hours, but it's not necessarily 6 hours because we're all uploading concurrently. So it's more like everybody uploads at the same time in 1 hour form, or maybe say 2 hours.
You say that like we actually are uploading concurrently, though. You had to double check yesterday to make sure you had even uploaded your video.
I know. I'm just saying the math doesn't check out,
People here have a habit of forgetting to upload, and it's very frustrating. But anyway, you're not necessarily wrong, though. Yeah, you're right. Most of us are uploading concurrently, so it's not like I have to wait individually for everybody to upload. However, we do all have different internet speeds, so it takes a different amount of time. Anyway, that's already time-consuming enough just to get the footage to edit. And then you have to edit it. Editing it isn't hard, but it does take time because you have to make the individual cuts. Depending on who's talking. That kind of
actually, you know what? What do you use? You use Premiere?
I use Premiere, yeah.
Have you tried doing multicam?
Yeah, you still have to do cuts for multicam.
Yeah, I know, but I assumed back when you edited it with Sony Vegas, it was a thing where you had to actually split and do that kind of thing. Multicam, you just kind of press a button, don't you? So it's not.
You do.
He's talked about multicam.
Yeah, no,
before,
you do. Multicam makes the process easier, but also longer. Because the way multicam works is that you have to go ahead and render out the full video with everybody's footage on it first before you can do multicam.
All right, fair
so
enough.
basically you've doubled render time because you have to render it twice instead of just once.
Right.
However, when you actually get down to editing, it's like a breeze. It's so easy.
So we just need a better machine.
But yeah, so you have to render out all 4 to 6 tracks of video on one video screen, and that takes a whole day basically. And obviously I can't do any other work while something's rendering, so I couldn't work on Showcase because on the weekend that I had allocated to work on Showcase, I was assigned this stupid video that I didn't think was going to be needed for another week. So I had to spend all my time working on that.
All this time.
And it's not like the editing took up all the time, it's the rendering. The rendering took up all the time.
Yeah, and then the entire time, all the meanwhile, we have to do all these videos, 1 per day. And let me tell you, a video per day is actually a relatively simple process. You just go through the steps, you get it done, and sometime during the day, the video's up. Unfortunately, it's a lot harder when you work an 8-hour shift at some point during that day.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if it was 2 days a week maybe, then it would have been easy to work around, but I had 8-hour shifts every day for 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I get you.
I was working full time for 2 weeks plus college. So basically my schedule was I would wake up at 8 a.m. and go to school until 2 p.m., get home, go straight to work for 8 hours till 10 a.m. I keep saying a.m., 10 p.m. At 10 p.m., I would get off of work, go straight into a call with these guys, and begin working on Showcase until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
In which
like
case,
a
I would
nightmare.
go to sleep for 4 hours, maybe. Sometimes it was even, like, worse. Yeah, Purple's kind of in the chat right now, and she just pointed out that sometimes it was 8 a.m. that I went to bed. So,
No,
yes,
I mean,
that is very
listen,
true.
yeah, I went to bed before you went to bed every night, and calls would be up until like 6, 7, my time, which is like 7,
Yes,
8.
I do remember that.
And I usually didn't go to bed until the call was over with, so.
And that's the fun thing, though, because that's VAR's schedule. My schedule, I didn't have school. I took that out of the equation. But I do work a different shift than him. VAR works basically what amounts to a swing shift. He works throughout the day into the night. Yeah. I work the graveyard shift, and I love the graveyard shift so much. You have no idea. So I'll work from 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. Eastern. And that's all good and fine and all, but then I need to go to sleep after 6 a.m. So I'll go to sleep, and then I guess sleep for like 8 or so hours, but then it leaves me about maybe 6 hours. If I'm lucky, 6 hours to do any sort of work. These videos do not take 6 hours.
They take a long time. The biggest misconception by people who don't actually edit videos, so they don't really know, is that the shorter the video is, like, the easier it is to edit.
No.
Exact opposite.
No.
Complete opposite. Our longer videos, the reason why we have so many long videos, those are the easiest things to edit. You put that in a track, you make a few cuts every now and then you're good. With a show like Showcase, there are so many cuts in such a small amount of time. I have to individually film every single one of those scenes.
Yep.
Make sure the lighting is proper in every single one of those scenes. Make sure that everything is framed properly. The set behaves the way I want it to behave, not shaking or anything. And then I have to edit those individually, splice those into the footage and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That takes time. I think.
And the recent reviews have started to follow a similar format to the autopsies, to the showcases, where there are these close-ups, these smaller shots, these cut-tos. I also need to do that. So we have a very similar pattern in how we're working on these videos.
You know what? You know
So they
what
take longer.
we should consider doing, honestly? We should just...
Hiring
No,
more
honestly,
people.
no, this is an actual thing. It would cost a bit more money up front. We should invest the company money.
Pay us more.
We
I
should
agree.
invest company money to buy a render machine and just have it at VAR's place, because VAR has, good stable internet, and you just put everything on that machine when it's time to render, or transfer it through Dropbox, and like what Ven does sometimes for the podcast with Meso, and have that dedicated machine to render out stuff. So VAR, you could...
For VAR and Meso, that would work, but I don't have a...
I'm just saying that, like, for in situations like that, again, with like book club, we could have like a company machine that's dedicated to, and then once we have
But this is assuming that uploading the footage. This is assuming that uploading the footage and getting it downloaded to the render machine would take less time than just rendering it off your computer. Because, like, say for instance, if someone else was in possession of the render machine, like Vin, we send it to Vin to do all rendering work.
Right.
I would still have to upload all the showcase footage for him to render out, and each piece of footage is like at least 4 gigs.
Well, the reason why I'm suggesting you is because you do the most video work, which means that you could transfer it through like USB to external hard drive and just plug that in, which is way faster than downloading and uploading. Especially if you have USB 3.0, you can just transfer that.
I mean, yeah, that's true in like my case. I'm just saying, like, if say for instance someone else did have a show, like maybe Vin or someone had a show that required using a camera to record footage in HD quality,
right?
That uploading that footage and getting it downloaded to the render machine might take longer.
Well,
than just edit it.
It's definitely something that wouldn't be applicable to all series, but I would say for like book club especially, because we're going to be doing that regularly, and if we ever decide to do more video stuff in the future, we can use that, because all that footage would be going to you anyways, and that way you can just, and we'll be in the same area when it comes to down there. We can put it in the studio if need be. We can do whatever with it, but we should just have like that going on anyways, with like a server and stuff, and just be able to transfer stuff there and have it render overnight, so you can focus on other things. I don't know. It's something we should consider. We'll bring it up in the next business meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. But yeah, so here VAR and I, here we are. We're working the same job. We're working the same length of shift on almost the same days. And we're working a similar video series with a similar pattern, all of which need to come out in a similar group of time. We had a lot of fun doing that. It was stressful, but we enjoyed it because it's great. It's like we wake up, oh, hey, VAR, I'm running a little bit late on the recent. Oh, really? That makes me so happy because I'm running a little bit late.
Yeah, it was really funny.
On
We
the
had
showcase.
this like mutual understanding of complete failure. So it's like, it was good that like I didn't go ahead and get all the showcases done or something, because then Eljay would be falling behind and he'd be like, oh man, VAR's just, everybody's waiting on me. It's a lot of pressure. But then we'd be like, hey, Eljay, is the recent done tonight? And he'd be like, no. And I'd be like, oh my God, thank you so much. It's not me. I'm not the one.
Yeah, and like normally people would get on my case, like, where's the recent, Eljay? Come on. But VAR's our boss. Nobody gets on his case. And if VAR's okay with me, just quite frankly, he understands where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So nobody gives either of us any
Except
flack
Meso.
because we're both having this. Well, except Meso, but that's because Meso, that's kind of his shtick at this rate. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and we're still working on it. And we still got to get all that done.
We're
But
getting there.
It's just, but man, like the workload has been crazy.
Oh, I bet.
I'm involved in so many series that I've lost count. It's like I've got my hand like in everything to some degree, which is both a cool thing and a bad thing at the same time. I enjoy it from a concept thing because I can brag about it on Twitter, but then I also hate it because then I have to do work.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, but VAR, how have you been liking
the job itself has been tons of fun.
taker.
It's actually because I used to work as a waiter before I got this job as a call taker, so I'm kind of used to handling with customers and dealing with angry people and clients and that kind of thing. But that said, I can't believe I worked as a waiter and actually wasted my time making like the crappy amount of money I was making with that overly stressful job when I could have taken this job to begin with. Because man, I love this job. It is like the best job I've ever had. I get to work from home, just sit here in my house and like work on like TTV videos while I'm like in between calls from people. And occasionally I have to take a call from like an angry person or a drunk person, and they're just kind of like, I need a cab. And I'm like, okay. And I send a cab, and like, that's it. I'm getting paid for this. It's so easy.
Yeah, it is a really easy
Doesn't
job.
your
and it's a lot of fun
doesn't your boss
too.
know about TTV? Haven't you told him about TTV?
Yeah, he does.
So do you think there's a chance that he might see this video?
Possibly, I guess. But I mean, like, he even said like the job isn't rocket science, so.
Well,
It's
apparently,
not.
I
It's
mean,
really
apparently,
not.
You'd be surprised.
yeah,
People
you'd be
are still
surprised
screwing it up.
from what I'm hearing. There's
there are some things though where it's like the issue with it is not that it's difficult. It's there's a lot to remember constantly. There's a lot you need to recall.
There's a lot of info. So like, it's one of those jobs where you think the hardest part is going to be talking with people, that kind of thing, but really the hardest part is just like soaking in all the information, learning it, and knowing when to apply that knowledge. Because there's a lot of different cases that are going to be needed, like different companies that might need a car or something, or different situations that people might be in. There's a lot of times where I can't believe there are so many people that live in the US that just do not understand how an address works. Or what an address is. Like, you would be surprised at how many people call and are like, yeah, I need a cab at the Walmart. And I'm like, okay, sir, which Walmart? The one by that road. You know, the one road? Okay, sir, we have 4 of those roads. Is that north, south, east, or west?
See,
the one, the Walmart, man, the one. They'll start to get mad. I'm like, dude, I need an address to pick you up.
yeah. See, I had something funny yesterday that happened to me, and it was like that, but 10 times worse. Because I had a guy, and he was saying, "Hey, I need a cab at yada 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 drive," and I'm sitting here going, "Okay, punch it in. It's not showing up. So I'm like, okay, this is nothing new. Let's go through procedure. Look it up on Google Maps. Figure it out. Is it here? Bop, bop, bop. Look it up. Nothing. So I'm saying, could you, we have a bunch of probing questions. Could you spell that? Could you do this, the other thing? Spells it 3 different times, and I'm amazed he did.
That happened to me too.
And I exhaust everything. This guy is at the end of his ropes. I have nothing left in my arsenal. So I'm going around. Divine intervention, my internet cuts out. First time it's ever happened to me on the job. So it cuts out for about 5 seconds, but it disconnects the call. So I talk about it in the chat with all the other coworkers. Another coworker gets this guy. Yeah, that address is non-existent. The street name, the street number, non-existent.
I got a call like that too, from a dude who just completely made up a whole street name. Like, he just made it up.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah.
It's like, what does he think is going to happen? Like, does he think the cab will just somehow magically realize that address is made up and know where to find him?
Exactly. One of my other coworkers, he got the guy and he said, yeah, so that guy was a complete moron. And turns out he meant this, this, and this, which was a completely different sounding address than what
Wait,
I
so how
was
did he figure it
given.
out?
He probably
I have
asked
no
someone
idea.
around.
The other
That's what usually when I can't, like, if the person I'm talking to has no clue where they are at all, which I just can't get over the fact that why would you call a cab company to pick you up if you don't know where you are? But anyway, usually what I do is I ask the person if, like, is there anyone around them that they can ask for the address? Because usually someone is smart.
Yep, that's what I do
and
too.
like that'll happen.
Yeah.
Like, I got a guy that was from France who was clearly out of the country and didn't know what was going on, didn't really understand the system at all. And I was able to get him to just ask someone around him what the address was.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. If they're at an establishment and they don't know the address of that business or what have you, I'll just say, hey, could you ask an employee? Is there an employee around that would know the address? Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, and usually if I can at least get a street name, like, I don't need the number, I don't even need the full address. If I can get a street name and then just any business next to them, any building next to them, I can usually pinpoint where they are.
Yeah, that's most often.
Yeah, some people you just got to work with. But, like, man, know the address you're at, people. It's like, don't you order packages?
Yeah.
From online or something?
Hey, hold up. They don't order the packages in the Walmart there. They order, I'm sure if you say, hey, what's your home address, they'd be able to tell you.
No, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people don't even realize what city they're in sometimes.
Yeah, and that's also something you got to be careful of because it's divided kind of oddly. So sometimes you need to clarify their zip
Yeah, because some
code.
people think that they live in a completely different city than they actually live in. Like, these
Yeah,
people are
outside
nuts.
city borders. Yeah.
They're nuts, man. They have no clue what's going on. I don't know how they're alive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie though. Sometimes there is
gosh.
one thing I wish that smartphones had. Oh, I don't have it. It's just where am I thing. And they're like, you Siri, where am I? And Siri will be like, you are right here. You are like this address right now. Judging from like you're in between this address. I don't know why that's not a standard feature of smartphones. Because I mean, I've been on the flip side because I travel a lot.
It is.
Is it really? I've asked where am I?
Okay, well, maybe if you don't ask, but like, just open up like Google Maps or something.
Right.
And usually most phones have like a GPS built into them.
Yeah.
So like if you open up that app, it usually
Right,
pinpoints where you are.
Yeah. And you can just say where you, I mean like.
Yeah, and then you just say where you are. A lot of people also don't realize that you can still be in a call and then browse your phone too.
Yeah.
Like you can put your phone in speaker mode and then just look at Google Maps. So, a lot of people will call back, which I am completely fine with. I actually love it when someone's like, hey, I'm going to call you back and get that address because I'm like, yes, I don't have to deal with you. Bye.
Wow. But you see, I've gotten people who have called, and then they'll call back. And
that's the most awkward thing.
See, that's the funny thing, though, is because sometimes they just don't recognize me, but I've got a very distinctive voice, so they will.
It is definitely the most awkward thing whenever whenever you get someone back. Because, like, usually there's enough call takers, like, working at the same time that you don't ever hear from that person again. Like, if they're saying they're going to call back, you usually never hear from them again.
Yeah. More often than not, we get calls from other people that we hear about others getting calls from.
But there was one time in particular for me where there's this guy at a Chipotle that had no clue what the address was.
Yeah,
so
you tell me this.
I had a fish. Yeah, and then, like, I guess, I don't know. For whatever reason, cabs weren't taking the fare, and he was waiting for a while, and then I find out that, okay, someone input the address a little bit wrong, so I put it back into the system, told him, okay, it might wait a little bit, can't guarantee the situation or the estimated time or anything, so just be patient. And then he calls back like 2 hours later, and he's like, man, what's going on, man? Where my cab at, man?
Yeah,
He starts screaming at me, and I'm like,
several times.
Just my luck that I got this guy again.
Yep. Every single time I've found an address that's been wrong, it's never been my fault. Now, I'm probably going to jinx that, and I'm probably going to forget to do it.
It always happens to, you mess up in your job sometimes,
Yeah, it's
going to
hard.
happen. It's going to,
But it's a matter of time. I
nice.
dread the day. But thus far, every single time I have found an incorrect address, it's always because somebody else. And sometimes it's been completely different. Sometimes it has been nothing like the address the customer's giving me, and it's bizarre.
Yeah, it's just like, the job is really good, though. It's a lot of fun.
But, yeah, the job's great.
The people in charge are really nice, too. It's actually quite funny.
Where am I?
All my bosses are, like, so hilariously
You're
nerdy.
on 700 South Illinois
not even funny.
Avenue, Carbondale.
It does it now.
Oh, my God.
Well, I'm glad that you have that in the recording, so everyone knows where you are.
No, I don't care. They know where I live. Sure. Show up. I won't give you a beer. I'll give you, a soda.
This is the guy that said, this is the guy that told us a story about a friend of his breaking into his house.
Yeah, I know, because he was mad about it.
and trying to strangle
I've
him.
Yes, I mean, that happened. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not really worried that much about people knowing my location either.
I don't really care. Listen, if people came, the thing that stood out to me is that, like, when he did it, I was just surprised because I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I thought it was a dream at first, to be honest, because I'm like, I can't believe this is. That never happens in real life, You don't think about that happening. It's like, you know what I'm saying, right?
No, I do not. But anyhow, it's nice working. I'm glad because I got this job. I was referred to this job by a family member who also works there, and I went to the interview.
I was referred to by a family member too.
Oh, so
they don't get that. Nobody gets that. That was really good. That was heartwarming. That was a hallmark moment right there. That was like
that could go on.
That was a commercial for like a a Pepsi commercial. That was man. We should explain a joke.
Anyway,
Eljay's the one that recommended VAR, so that's why. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funniest part was that I learned things quicker than you did.
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we have a certain procedure for handling a certain thing. And so I'm going through it. I'm doing the thing. I'm asking VAR for a couple of tips and advice because he recently went through this training, and I just needed some refreshers to jog my memory. Screw you. And VAR's sitting here, and he goes, "Oh, hang on, just give me a moment. Let me do this. Click, click. You don't know how to do this yet." And I'm sitting here going, I've been working here for a full 3 weeks, longer than you, pal, and you know things I don't? You're schooling me.
It was hilarious, dude. I
did
Eljay's job for it.
I was flipping pancakes because I was like, how do you know this and I don't?
It's because
I got you this
it was
job,
because
buddy.
I got extra training that no one else got. They used me as a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and I'm gonna get that training tomorrow, but I was so frustrated.
Wait, can you tell that story?
Oh, because it's a bit too
revealing,
too specific.
Yeah, okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. No, I get you.
We can't do it, but yeah, I'm really nervous because I hope I'm doing everything right, and I'm trying to follow protocol and everything and do this. Occasionally, I just forget to do something or something happens. Every so often, but it's normally easily fixable.
Yeah. Don't screw it up.
But
the only thing.
But
continue. I'll talk about it in a second.
No, I'm just really nervous all the time. I hope I'm doing well, but nobody tells you anything. So
no,
it's
I think the best news is no news. So if you're not getting any kind of message saying you screwed up, you're fine.
Yeah, I guess.
And
that's
usually when you mess something up, it's usually pretty easy to fix. There's just a big edit button you can click and adjust something if you really need to. The only time I've ever screwed something up and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that. The system that we use has this little quirk to it where it has keyboard shortcuts, hotkeys, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them do things that you don't expect them to do. So when you notice that someone's using a different phone number, or they want to have a different phone number on system than what shows up, you have to use the backspace button. Because if you click the delete key, what you think is going to happen is it's going to delete like one number so that you can enter in, quickly fix it. If you hit the delete key, what it does is delete everything in the line.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I remember that. I've never done that, but oh my gosh.
That's a thing, and it's a very frustrating thing
horrible.
too, especially after you've just finished typing up everything, but you notice you made one little typo. So you go back and click the delete key, and it's all gone. And you're like, sir, I just need to verify that address one more time.
Yeah.
And like you want to make sure you use the word verify, because otherwise if you're like, can you give me the address one more time, you will tick somebody off. No one wants to be on a call
That's
with
interesting. Several words are interesting. Like my job is, I have several jobs right now.
Yeah, we haven't talked about your job yet. I was
Yeah, I
about
know.
to ask you, because you work multiple jobs.
I work multiple jobs. I've had all sorts of jobs over the years. I have worked in, like off the top of my head, I've worked in computer labs. I've worked as a tutor for education. I've worked as a computer security, network security analyst. I have worked as a network master control operator for a television station. I have worked as a librarian. I have worked as a leasing agent at a thing, and a marketing director, and also right now I'm a pizza deliverer. So I've done like a huge amount of jobs in my like college like career, quote unquote, right? And graphic design and all that stuff too.
And not only are you a pizza delivery person, you're like double pizza delivery too, aren't you? Aren't you working like two different pizza jobs?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm in different places, so it's just kind of like there. But so throughout all my jobs, you guys are talking about all of this stuff you do. All great. The greatest and easiest job I've ever had. And I was very disappointed I had to give this up because it was a college thing, and I transferred colleges, and I was very disappointed I did that because it was the best job I'd ever had. It was watching the computer lab. I will tell you about this computer lab job. You get paid $10 an hour. One, that's already great. Here's what you do. Your job is
good money.
Here's your job. Here's your job at the computer lab. You clock in. You sit there. You come out after class. You're on campus. Make sure nobody goes on Facebook, and that they sign in. That's it. Guess what happens when people go on Facebook? Nothing, because nobody cares. So if I messed up, I'm like, oh, this person's on Facebook, and I didn't call him. Okay, sure. He's on Facebook. Sorry about that. If someone didn't sign in, sorry about that. Yeah. No oversight. Like, there's no oversight. If I screwed up, if I didn't do like part of my job, that wasn't like a huge deal. I mean, obviously I made sure to still do it, but like sometimes, like for you, if you enter something incorrectly, that costs a company money. If you don't do something right, it costs somebody money. So you're always like, your mistakes are a bit more like, dangerous.
Our mistakes matter.
It's stressful, and that thing where like, that's in my other jobs too. Like if I didn't get this pizza here on time, if I don't get this television show up and ready to go and timed and slotted for that time, everything messes up. People will be mad, everything. This one is like, there was no risks in it whatsoever. And I only worked there for a couple months, but it was I would just go in, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to work on homework today. And I did all the homework, and I was like, all right, I'm going to watch Netflix. In fact, I watched the entirety of Red vs. Blue while doing that job.
Wow. Greatest
job I've ever had. And I had to switch colleges, and it was very sad. But I've had a lot of different jobs over time. So right now, pizza, what you're talking about addresses and like street names and everything, that is very, very important as a pizza deliverer. You have to know like all the streets and where they go into, and obviously like I only started this job a couple months ago, like 2 months ago maybe, so I don't have a complete map of my town in my head. But you have to learn like everything. You have to learn like the street names, the type of apartments. There's several apartments that are like crazily done. Like there's one apartment that has 4 buildings, and you're like, okay. And it's like, all right, so there's building like 1, building 2, building 3, and building 4. So there's one that goes, all right, let's go to 413. And you're like, okay, well, obviously enough, it's going to be 413s in building 4, right? No, all the 4 buildings are connected, and like they all go like it goes, and like the first floor is 1, and you're like, okay, it's just a number of floors. Except it's not. The 200 also begins on the first floor. For no reason. Literally no reason whatsoever. It doesn't even have 100 floors in that level. It just has like 20. It goes from 1 to 120, 101 to 120, and then 201. What? Why? I don't know. It's so stupid, and it just keeps going up. It's like it's horrible. So that's the kind of thing you have to be aware of there. Leasing.
You never notice those weird things until like it's your job to notice.
Yeah, right. No, or like other things of like TV. When I worked a TV job, it was a thing where I had to schedule all these commercials to go up. And one thing about commercials is that like sometimes like commercials will say there's a certain amount of time in the thing, and you watch them and they're not that long. There's like an extra 2 seconds of black, and like the networks do not like that. So you have to readjust all these things like live as they're going on. Sometimes and you have to adjust it by the second too. You have to make sure everything's calculated to be there by the second. So at the end, we did have, at the very end, at the end of every hour, we would have this spot that was like, welcome to this network. It was like, it's like this television network. And that spot you could elongate for up to like 20 seconds, but you could shorten it too. So sometimes it would be like, 8 seconds long if you only had 8 seconds left, or if it was, then you could extend it to like 13. But every hour you had to check and make sure that was going on. Network security is never, man, I have so many jobs. Network security is another big thing where you had to make sure that students got viruses and you had to track them down. I was in my campus, so I recognized some of the names sometimes, and that was kind of funny. LTA of mine, spread this huge virus across campus by like, it was like an email thing where it'd be like, oh, you've received your, financial aid for this next year, and you need to download this to fill out your application, except it would download this virus, and it would also send with that person's email an email to everybody else on the thing. And it just keeps going and going. Yeah, anyhow. I don't know, whatever questions you have.
Wow.
Yeah, those
so
are
much
all
experience. You said so much, I don't even know what to comment on.
So I worked with boxes one time, and I also
I also
I
used job
brought food
right
to a
videos.
table.
Oh, it's a lot of things. I have out of all my friends, I have the most varied resume. Like, I've worked a lot of jobs, and I'd say fortunately never been fired from one of my jobs. Not to jinx that.
Yeah, I've never been fired either, not yet at least. My favorite job thus far, obviously, is TTV, with the call taker being a close
It's hard to really
second.
beat TTV when it comes to a job, man. This is a pretty
Because
sweet gig here.
yeah, listen, our job is like being popular. Like, okay, cool. You spend
my job is playing.
Yeah,
with toys.
you play with toys and you talk about toys. Like, you talk about what you're passionate about, and people like listening to you.
Yeah. See, although I never like to describe it that way.
No, I never.
My mother, however, does. She'll go to people and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, my son gets paid to play with toys," and I'm like, now how am I going to explain this in a way that makes it sound
right?
really
It's okay.
Thanks for opening up like that.
every time she does it, I have to like.
Well, okay, how do you talk about TTV? How do you talk about TTV? Here's what I always say.
I always explain it as a production company. Like, we are an internet production company. We produce videos for.
I say we're an internet entertainment
I
company.
always say, I always introduce it like, oh yeah, it's a YouTube channel, and we go over, like, we review toys.
I never introduce it as YouTube because there are still a lot of, especially the older crowd, they don't respect YouTube as a job.
I never do that. Never.
They don't understand that like that can be a thing. So I always say like we're an internet production company that distributes our content on various online media.
Do you
platforms,
mention like
such
Lego
as YouTube
or Bionicle?
and Yeah. Usually, if they're interested, they sound interested, and they want to know more about it. I say, we're usually press for like for Lego, the Lego company, and we do a lot of videos aimed towards younger children, that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. So I will do that, but
because you you want to make sure you're not lying about your job, but also you want to sell it so people respect it.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't understand how great of a gig it actually is.
Right. This is, I would like to do this indefinitely in terms of like just being, even just, going on and being a personality on things. I've always enjoyed that aspect of this and like.
Yeah, I never thought that this is something that I would ever be a part of or enjoy, but this is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
I never really wanted to be a YouTuber until it happened, and now.
Right, exactly. You just kind of did it because it was like, oh, it's a cool thing to do, and then suddenly we were like in this realm where we could do stuff.
Let's be honest. I don't really want to be a YouTuber either. I want to be a Vessel.
Vessel.com, everybody. Get all of our videos.
Vessel.com/TTV channel. Sign up. It accepts PayPal and credit cards.
It's only $3 a month if you want to get early access. It'll get you early access for a week to all of our content before it's released on YouTube or Vessel Public.
Yeah.
So, but so guys, before we wrap up, Least favorite job ever.
Waiter. That was the worst job. I would never recommend being a waiter. I actually would recommend avoiding the food industry entirely. It's an incredibly stressful place to go unless you are really, really tough and know what you're doing. People are very irritable when they are hungry. So, yeah, I would avoid that entirely. It's funny because like the job that I was going to be taking before I got the call center job was like a cashier at McDonald's.
Oh my gosh.
You did save me. Like that I was like,
that was close.
I was like a shoe-in for that job too. So I'm really, really, really glad I got this job.
I would have to say it's a tie between the like librarian job and the master control job. The only like the reasons why is that one, the librarian one, I was a shelver primarily, so I'd go and shelve books.
All right, wait, are you saying a librarian?
No, he's saying librarian.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
I thought I saw librarian. All right, all right, sure. Basically, the thing about that is because I shelved books like all the time, I did not get to read at all, and it kind of like killed my thing of like going to the library, because every time I went to the library, I would go there to work, and like you were not able to read. Like, yeah, I just wasn't able to read unless I was on break. And that kind of was like a thing where like I went there because I liked books and I wanted to read, and I like doing that kind of thing, talking to people, and I just didn't do any of that. I didn't talk to people most of the time. I just kind of sat books and I had to do stuff. So that was my kind of my least favorite job. I didn't have free time like I did with my other job, so it was just kind of like, it comes whatever. And then the one at the TV station was just really stressful. It was really fun. I liked it there, but it was just too stressful. And like the people I worked with were great, but the people overhead were really like overbearing. You had to get stuff done by the second, and if you didn't, that was a huge deal. So that was the kind of stress that I felt was a bit too much for me. And I still enjoyed working there. I wouldn't have traded those experiences for anything, but I would not readily go back to that, I guess.
Oh, yeah, another quick thing about the call center job that makes me really happy is that you don't actually have to look at people when they're mad at you. It's quite nice. That was very stressful for being a waiter and like having to deal with someone who is mad at you for something, because you have to look at them and continue to serve them.
Can I mention my favorite thing about your job? Which is how you get paid?
Oh, yeah, we get paid weekly.
That is the best thing I've ever heard. Every job I've had has been bi-weekly, and that sucks so badly.
Yep. I've had that too. I told Var was having a kind of a bad day, so it's like, hey Var, you do know we get paid weekly, right? And he was like, that's the best thing I've heard all day.
Legitimately is like the
It's because like I'm used to getting paid monthly via TTV, so it's like, what? Weekly?
Right.
What?
Oh, that's really good. I wish I got paid weekly. I don't know why to do the bi-weekly thing.
I don't think I'm ever going to find another job that pays weekly. Like that is, I've never even heard of that before. It's crazy.
Yep.
Anyway, what was your least favorite job? I guess it had to be the boxing one, right, Eljay?
Nope. Irrigation.
Oh, right. I always forget you do that.
So, the boxing job, I kind of jokingly dislike it, but it really did a lot for me. It got me to a good place. It got me a lot of money. It was definitely a learning experience, and I appreciate it greatly for that. It was also a physical experience, because there's a lot of physical work involved. But irrigation, hated irrigation. Because it was a 24/7, you always had to monitor it job, and it didn't matter what time something went wrong. If it went wrong at 1 o'clock a.m., tough beans. You still had to go outside in the dark at night and do it. In the cold, getting wet. It didn't matter. You always had to monitor it. And sure, we were paid, but the pay wasn't great, and we were paid like every 2 months.
Oh no.
And it sucks too, because usually it's a 2-person job, but if that second person is ever toast for any given reason, you would still have to go out and do the irrigation, and if there's ever something that needed 2 people, you would have to then stop and wait for a second person to help you. And then occasionally you had to wait for the owner of all the irrigation pipes to come and help you, because you either didn't have the equipment, you didn't have the tools, you didn't have the parts, or you simply just could not do it and there was a technique you had not learned that they know.
Wow.
And you were always really, really worried about something breaking, because if a pipe ever broke, it's $100 a pipe.
Whew.
So, yeah, it was a horrible job. I hated doing it. It was a good thing that we did do it, because the landlord was like super lenient with us the entire time, because we were doing his irrigation and he was making tons of money off of the alfalfa. But if I never have to do irrigation again, I will live a happy life.
Wow. All right. Well,
It sucked.
that sounds awful.
It was
Wrap us out,
horrible.
Kahi.
LJ's leading this one,
What?
so
That's me.
Wrap us out.
that's
LJ.
LJ's job, Var. Maybe you should
I
keep
don't
track
know.
of who's doing what, huh, on the channel, huh?
Well, you see, you talked so much earlier that I just like kind of forgot. I thought it was you.
Yeah.
Well, you guys like took a whole
So anyway,
20 minutes,
thanks everyone
man.
for watching. This has been
I know.
Yeah, but we were interesting. Thanks everyone for listening to TTV Talks. If you would like to support us or continue the discussion, tell us what your favorite job was, your least favorite
If
job.
you even have a
ever worked
job,
a
I know.
before.
Like we're kind of shooting
you
towards
even
the
have a
lower
job.
end of the spectrum here.
Sorry about that. Go ahead and continue the discussion either in the comments below or on the TTV Message Boards at board.ttvpodcast.com. Please feel free to support us by going over to Vessel at Vessel/the TTV channel, where you'll find all of our content a week in advance, and that includes all of our recent reviews, our product showcases, and anything we may have out. We also do have some exclusive content that you may or may not enjoy, but we highly encourage you to go over there and sign up for the early access subscription. It would help us out, and you guys would be getting a great deal. It's a site-wide subscription, so any content creators on the site, and we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
We also do have some Audible stuff, but I won't get into that because we are looking into some other things. We don't have enough books to talk about.
Indeed.
So that about wraps it up.
And Purple says hi.
I was avoiding saying that, but whatever.
Aw.
Thanks everyone for listening. I'm LJ.
Var?
Kahi. Where are we going with this?
I forgot that it was me first. I was like, wait, is it Bar? Am I going to step on his
This is a long TTV talk. I'm sorry, AT.
Yeah, I apologize.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. See you all next week.